The physical therapist's hands worked methodically on my left knee, the one that still couldn't bend past 90 degrees. 6 months since the accident, I'd made progress, slow but steady. Each session brought small victories. Last month, I'd managed stairs for the first time. 2 weeks ago, I'd stood through an entire grocery store trip. Dr. Martinez said another 4 months of intensive therapy, and I might walk without the limp that currently defined every step I took. "You're doing great, Sarah," she said, guiding my leg through the painful range of motion. The stretch burned through my quadriceps, that familiar fire that meant healing was happening. "I can see real improvement from last week. Your range of motion is up by 5 degrees. 5 degrees didn't sound like much to most people. But I'd learned to measure recovery in millimeters, in seconds of standing without pain, in the small victories that rebuilt a life 1 degree at a time." My phone buzzed. "Mom." I ignored it during the session, focusing on the exercises that hurt but helped. The accident had destroyed more than just my knee. The drunk driver who'd run the red light had shattered my femur, fractured my hip, and left me with nerve damage that made standing for more than 20 minutes an ordeal. When the session ended, I checked my phone. 7 missed calls from Mom, 3 from my sister, Jennifer. My stomach tightened. I called Mom back from the parking lot, leaning against my car because standing unsupported still exhausted me. Finally, Mom answered, "We need to talk. Come to the house. I just finished therapy. Can it wait until?" "No, now." The drive to my parents' house took 15 minutes. I used to make it in 8, before the accident, before I had to drive an automatic because my left leg couldn't handle a clutch anymore. Dad's car sat in the driveway next to Jennifer's new BMW, the engagement gift from her fiancé's parents. I parked on the street, giving myself an extra minute before going inside. They were all in the living room: Mom, Dad, Jennifer, and Jennifer's fiancé, Marcus. Jennifer had wedding magazines spread across the coffee table, her engagement ring catching the afternoon light every time she gestured. "Sit down, Sarah," Mom said. I lowered myself carefully into the armchair, the one that let me keep my leg elevated. "Jennifer's engagement party is in 3 weeks, Mom began. We're looking at venues, caterers, the whole thing. It needs to be perfect." "That's great," I said, meaning it. Jennifer and Marcus had been together for 4 years. "I'm happy for you both." "The thing is," Mom continued, "we've been running the numbers. The party we want, the one Jennifer deserves, is going to cost about $20,000. I waited. My disability payments from the accident were decent, enough to cover my rent, medical expenses, and basic living costs. The insurance company had been paying out monthly while my case worked through the legal system. "We need to make some adjustments to the family budget," Dad said, speaking for the first time. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Temporarily. Your physical therapy," Mom said. "It's costing us $1,200 a week. That's almost $5,000 a month." My chest tightened. "The therapy is helping, Dr. Martinez says." "You're walking now," Jennifer interrupted. "Not great, but walking. That's good enough, isn't it?" "We're not saying forever," Mom added quickly. "Just for a few months. Until after the wedding. The engagement party is important, Sarah. First impressions matter for Marcus's family." I looked at Dad. He studied the carpet. "Walking isn't the priority right now," Mom said. "Your sister's happiness is. This is her moment. You understand that, right?" The words hung in the air. Walking isn't the priority. As if my ability to move through the world without pain was optional. As if the progress I'd fought for through 6 months of agonizing therapy sessions was negotiable. "What about the settlement?" I asked quietly. "My lawyer said it should come through soon." "That's months away, probably," Mom said. "Jennifer's engagement party is in 3 weeks. We need the money now." "We've already been covering your rent," Dad added, still not looking at me. "And your groceries, your medical bills. This is just a temporary adjustment." I wanted to argue, wanted to explain that missing even 2 weeks of therapy could set me back months, that Dr. Martinez had warned me against interruptions, that my knee was at a critical point in recovery. But I'd learned something in 6 months of depending on family. Sometimes keeping quiet was easier than fighting battles you couldn't win. "Okay," I said. Mom's face relaxed. "Good. I knew you'd understand. This is what family does. We sacrifice for each other." Jennifer smiled at me, the same smile she'd given me when she borrowed my car in high school and returned it with an empty gas tank. "Thanks, Sarah. This means everything to me." I drove home in silence, my knee throbbing from the day's exertion. That night, I called Dr. Martinez's office and canceled my standing appointments. The receptionist's concern echoed through the phone. "Are you sure?" Dr. Martinez specifically noted that consistency is crucial at your stage. I'm sure, I said, and hung up before she could ask more questions. The next 2 weeks blurred together. Without therapy, my knee stiffened. The limp worsened. Pain became my constant companion, sharp and accusatory with every step. Jennifer's engagement party planning consumed the house. Every family dinner became a venue discussion, a catering debate, a flower arrangement symposium. I sat quietly, elevating my knee while they planned a party funded by my abandoned medical care. The ice sculptures alone are $3,000, Jennifer announced at dinner one night, but Marcus's mother specifically mentioned wanting them. Worth every penny, Mom assured her. This party sets the tone for everything. I pushed food around my plate. The pain medication made me nauseous, but I needed it more now without therapy to manage the inflammation. You're quiet tonight, Dad observed. Just tired, I said. Well, try to be more enthusiastic, Mom said. This is a happy time for the family. On day 16 without physical therapy, my knee had swollen to twice its normal size. The inflammation Dr. Martinez had been carefully managing with targeted exercises had returned with a vengeance. I'd started using the cane again, something I'd graduated from 2 months earlier. Every step reminded me of what I'd sacrificed for ice sculptures and party planners. My phone rang with an unfamiliar number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Ms. Bennett? This is David Chen from Morrison & Associates. I'm calling about your settlement. I sat up straighter, ignoring the spike of pain in my knee. Yes. We've received final approval from the insurance company and the defendant's legal team. The settlement is ready for disbursement. Can you come to the office tomorrow to sign the final paperwork? How much? My voice came out as a whisper. $3.2 million. After legal fees, you'll receive $2.8 million. The room tilted. $2.8 million. Enough for a lifetime of physical therapy. Enough to never depend on anyone again. Enough to reclaim every degree of motion I'd lost in the past 16 days. Ms. Bennett, are you there? Yes, sorry, yes, I'll be there tomorrow. That night, I didn't sleep. I researched apartments with accessible layouts, found a physical therapy practice that specialized in complex orthopedic recovery, and looked at adaptive equipment that could make my daily life easier. By morning, I had a plan. The lawyer's office occupied the 15th floor of a downtown building. Mr. Chen was young, efficient, and thorough. He walked me through every page of documentation. The funds will be transferred to your account within 48 hours, he said. I recommend speaking with a financial advisor before making any major decisions. I already know my first decision, I said. He smiled. Most people do. I left his office with signed papers and a lightness I hadn't felt in months. Not physical lightness. My knee still ached. My hips still protested every movement, but something else had lifted. The family group chat exploded that afternoon. Jennifer had found the perfect party planner, but they needed a $5,000 deposit by Friday. The messages came rapid fire, each one more demanding than the last. Mom, Sarah, can you ask your lawyer about an advance on the settlement? Jennifer, please. This party planner is amazing. She did the mayor's daughter's wedding. Dad, it would really help the family out. Jennifer, Mom says you're being difficult about this. It's just a deposit. Mom, we've done so much for you. This is the least you can do. I watched the messages pile up, each one assuming my compliance, my gratitude, my willingness to sacrifice more for their celebration. I typed and deleted 3 responses before settling on simplicity. Me? No. My phone rang immediately. Mom, I let it ring 3 times before answering. What do you mean no? This is for your sister. I mean no, I won't ask my lawyer for an advance. Sarah, don't be selfish. This is a family expense. We've been supporting you for months. Your rent, your food, your medical bills. You canceled my physical therapy to pay for an engagement party. Temporarily. We said temporarily. Once your settlement comes through. It came through yesterday. Silence. Long enough that I could hear her breathing change, could almost hear the mental calculations. What? The settlement. I signed the papers yesterday. $2.8 million after legal fees. More silence. Then, carefully with the tone people use when they think they've won. Well, that's wonderful news. So you can help with the party costs. Actually, since you have so much now, you could cover the whole thing. $20,000 is nothing compared to. No. Excuse me? I said no. I'm not paying for the party. I'm not paying for anything for you anymore. Sarah, we're family. We've been taking care of you. You've been taking care of me with my own money. The insurance company has been paying you $1,800 a month for my care, plus the supplemental disability payment of $1,200. That's $3,000 a month you've been receiving for my expenses." The silence stretched so long I thought she'd hung up. "How did you?" "I called the insurance company, asked for a record of all payments made on my behalf. Turns out you've been receiving funds for my care while also telling me I'm a financial burden, while telling me my walking isn't a priority." "Now wait a minute." I hung up. My hands shook, but not from fear, from the strange exhilaration of finally saying what I'd bitten back for months. The group chat erupted. Jennifer called me selfish, ungrateful, cruel. Dad sent a long message about family loyalty and sacrifice. Mom alternated between guilt trips and demands. I blocked all of them. That evening, I called Dr. Martinez's office and rescheduled my therapy, 3 sessions a week, starting immediately. The receptionist sounded relieved. "Dr. Martinez will be so happy to hear from you. She's been worried." I also called a realtor about accessible apartments, scheduled appointments with a financial advisor, and researched the best orthopedic surgeons for a consultation about the additional procedures Dr. Martinez had mentioned might help. The next day, Jennifer showed up at my apartment. I watched through the peephole as she knocked, then pounded, then finally left. She'd driven across town in her BMW, the one her future in-laws had gifted her, to demand money from the sister she deemed capable of living with inadequate medical care. Marcus called that night. "Look, I don't know all the details, but Jennifer is really upset. Can't you just help with the party, for family peace?" "Tell me something, Marcus. If your knee was shattered, and you needed therapy to walk properly, would you consider walking a priority?" "That's not." "Would you?" He hesitated. "Of course." "Then you have your answer." He didn't call back. My first physical therapy session in 2 weeks was brutal. My knee had stiffened significantly. Dr. Martinez worked carefully, concern evident in her methodical approach. "We've lost some progress," he said, "but we can get it back. It'll take time and consistency." "I have both now," I said. She smiled. "Good. That's what I needed to hear." Over the next week, I signed a lease on a ground floor apartment with wide doorways and a walk-in shower. I bought a car with hand controls, just in case my leg never fully recovered. I met with a financial advisor who helped me set up accounts, investments, and a trust. And I started therapy 3 times a week, sometimes 4, when Dr. Martinez recommended it. The family calls and messages continued for a while, then slowed, then stopped. I heard through a cousin that Jennifer's engagement party had been scaled down significantly, 50 people instead of 200, a restaurant's private room instead of the country club, a grocery store cake instead of the custom designer pastry they planned. I felt no satisfaction in that. No victory, just the quiet relief of no longer being responsible for other people's choices. 6 weeks after the settlement, I could bend my knee to 120 degrees. Dr. Martinez was optimistic about full recovery with continued therapy. "You're one of my hardest working patients," she said. "I knew that break in therapy worried me, but you've come back stronger." "I had motivation," I said. My new apartment had space for a home exercise setup. I worked with Dr. Martinez to create a supplemental routine. I hired a personal trainer who specialized in rehabilitation. I invested in my recovery the way other people invested in retirement accounts, because walking was a priority, my priority. Not negotiable, not temporary, not something to be sacrificed for someone else's party. 3 months after signing the settlement papers, I walked a mile without stopping. My knee ached but held. The limp was barely noticeable. I celebrated alone in my apartment, the one I paid for with my own money, in the life I built from the wreckage of family expectations. Mom sent me one final text that I saw before I blocked her number. "You've changed. Money changed you. You used to care about family." I stared at the message for a long time before typing my response. "No, money freed me. There's a difference." Then I blocked the number, finished my physical therapy exercises, and planned tomorrow's session. Walking had always been the priority. It just took $2.8 million for everyone else to understand that.